Hey, I'm Samnang. This is S&J Pride, the podcast where two gay men who've been together for over 11 years keep it real about coming out, love, and everything in between. If you've ever felt alone, stuck in the closet, or scared real love will ask for more than you can give, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe. Take a breath. One bureaucratic line can feel louder than 100 family arguments. Partner's name. 3 words that asked me to choose between a stamp and a life. Today, I want to tell you about the visa form that almost broke me, about the nights I sat with a photocopier's hum, the rehearsed answers I practiced in the mirror, and the phone call to James that was, in so many ways, our rehearsal for honesty. I'll walk you through what happened, what it cost us, and the small practical things I learned that might help you if you're balancing love and legal risk. Before we begin, a quick trigger note. This episode touches on family rejection and immigration stress. If that's heavy for you today, step back, breathe, and come back when you feel ready. Okay? Let's go. I remember the form like a photograph. It was white, single-spaced with checkboxes and italics. The question sat in the middle. Do you have a spouse or partner? If yes, name and relationship. I held the paper too close and felt my heartbeat in my throat. On one side of that sheet was the life I had built with James. Small routines, late-night takeout, his half-empty coffee mug on my desk. On the other side was the small, safe life I had learned to perform for my family and a culture that couldn't see us. There was nowhere quiet to hide the truth on a form. Forms are official. They want names and signatures and proof. I had to decide whether to make this private thing public with ink.
The first night, I tried to do the paperwork alone. I printed everything at 2 a.m., the dorm room photocopier clicking like a metronome to my anxiety. I folded the copies into a folder and rehearsed 2 scripts. No, single, and yes, partner. I sounded ridiculous in the empty hallway, like an actor trying out lines for a role I wasn't sure I wanted to play. I told myself I was protecting people, my parents, our community, but really I was protecting myself from the thud of their disappointment. That's the trick with closeting. You learn to think of secrecy as care. I had convinced myself for years that secrecy kept everyone safe, but the truth is, secrecy taught me to live in halves.
2 days later, I called James. I heard him breathe when he answered, that small sound that always steadied me. I read the question to him like it was an exam, and I asked him what he thought I should write. He said, "Whatever makes you feel safe," and I almost strangled on how that answer landed. Not because it was wrong, but because it put the choice back on me, like it had always been. We talked for an hour. I told him about the photocopies and the rehearsed lies. I tried to make it light and failed. My voice kept wobbling. He listened, really listened, and then he said things I would replay in my head for months. "We'll figure it out together. I don't want you to hurt. You choose your safety first." Those words were compassion, but they were also permission. Permission to be cautious. Permission to be brave when I could be brave.
There was a practical side to this fear, of course. Immigration systems are not kind to people who don't fit neat boxes. I worried about forms triggering questions, about phone calls from officials, about family letters and gossip. I made lists, pros and cons, worst-case scenarios, if-then plans. That spreadsheet of fear helped in one way. It forced me to look at risks clearly. But spreadsheets can't weigh the cost of being unseen at family gatherings or the quiet erosion of shame. The choice wasn't only legal, it was emotional. It was, do I let my life with James be recorded in ink outside my apartment door? Or do I keep the best parts of us tucked between receipts and rehearsed answers? When the day came, I sat at a small wooden table with a pen in my hand, like it was a confession. I had practiced both choices until I could feel their shape in my stomach. If I wrote his name, what would my mother say when she asked about my life? If I didn't, what would I tell James when he asked why the form didn't list him? The pens moved slowly, as if they had their own anxiety. I remember writing the first letter and feeling a current of cold and heat at the same time, like standing in too strong sunlight after a winter night. I signed my name, and then I signed the space for no, because that was what I decided that day. People will ask why I didn't just tell the truth. I would tell them the same thing I tell you now. We make the safest choice we can in the moment we are in. Courage is often messy. That choice led to other choices. I told James later, and we had the conversation I had avoided for months. He didn't explode. He didn't walk away. He said, I get it. And then, but we need a plan. That was the thing that surprised me most. Not his calm, but his insistence on action. He wanted contingency plans, safer ways to be seen between us, a timeline for when we might make bolder moves. Where I had hidden to protect others, he wanted to create a roadmap to protect us. In that moment, I learned what partnership can look like when honesty isn't perfect. It looks like preparation, like small agreements, like holding a flashlight while the other person navigates the dark.
I also learned that some truths you can rehearse alone, and others you need someone else to help you carry. That's why later, when we found a way to write his name on a different application, slowly, safely, with legal advice and a friend who understood our culture, it felt less like a victory and more like a joining of work. We found an immigration clinic that offered confidential advice, we talked to a community group who had walked the same path, and we began telling one trusted person in my family. Those small moves changed the calculus. They didn't make fear vanish, but they made our next steps thoughtful instead of frantic.
I want to say something here, even though this is Samnang's story, because I was there, and I remember thinking, this is a test of love that you can't rehearse for. What matters is how you come back to each other afterward. We didn't always get it right. We argued about timelines, about when to tell people, about what safe actually meant. But the thing I learned was this: showing up matters more than being perfect. That's the truth of it.
So what did I learn? 3 things you can take with you if you're balancing love and legal risk. First, safety first, honesty when ready. That sounds obvious, but it's worth saying. Your immediate safety and stability matter. It's okay to wait until you have a plan. Second, small, honest steps build trust with your partner and with the world. Tell one trusted friend, seek confidential legal advice, and test the water before you dive. Third, get community help. There are clinics, LGBTQ+ legal hotlines, and local groups who know the forms and the fears. Use them. Use our story as a prompt to find your people, not as a rulebook.
If you're listening and you're in the middle of this, sitting with a form or a phone or a suitcase and wondering what to do, I see you. I know the ache of wanting to protect your family while wanting to protect your heart. You are allowed to choose safety. You are allowed to choose honesty when the time is right. And you are allowed to ask for help. If you need a tiny next step right now, write down one person who might support you privately and one community resource you can call. That single page can shift a life.
A quick and important reminder: we are not lawyers or therapists. This is our story, lived experience, not legal advice. If your situation involves immigration risk, please consult a qualified immigration attorney or a trusted community organization before making decisions that affect your legal status. If this episode brought up big feelings, consider reaching out to a mental health professional or a crisis line. You don't have to carry this alone. If this episode hit you in the chest, please subscribe and leave a comment, or just type "I see you" so we know you're here. Tell us one small brave thing you've done, or one step you plan to take. Your note might be the exact thing someone else needs to read today. Thank you for spending this hour with me. I know this subject is heavy, but I also know something else. Love survives paperwork because people choose each other again and again in small, careful ways. You're not alone. I hear you.
I hear you. We see you. If we can do this, you can too. We'll be back with another story next week, one that reminds you there is hope on the other side of hard choices.
This is S&J Pride. Take a breath. You're home.